Here we have the HDR 50, the TR 50 or the T4E, whatever you wish to call it. This is the Revolver. I've had this now for about 2 weeks and I'm very happy with it. Now I've changed the camera angle to what I'd normally film on, just to give me a little bit more room, and hopefully it works. If it doesn't, well, that's raw reviews. Okay, it comes in this box, simple box, serves its purpose, and in that box came this Allen key, the Revolver, and these instructions, a quick guidance to what the Revolver, how it, the names, the parts, as usual, you know, nothing too complicated, basic stuff, naming the parts, etc. And so these are the steel rubber balls that I purchased separately, which I've been using so far, and in there I think there was 50. Now with this, the offer came from Modern Combat Sports, I think it was now, was 4 spare magazines if you like, and now there was one already in there. They weren't loaded up, they were obviously empty. I've loaded them myself, and I shall now go through a quick overhaul of how it works. Now I'm not going to pop the gas, but the gas is already there, so let's just take the bottle CO2 out and I'll show you. So basically it comes with it on like so. Pretend there are no rubber balls in there. So that's how you'd get it, and what you'd do to get it to work is, first off, unscrew if it's a bit tight and use the Allen key, but you should be able to do it by hand anyway, either way, because it'll come to a point where it just stops. You don't have to over tighten it. You'll just know it just stops. Okay, so you take this out. Now this then doesn't go in that way, it goes in this way. Okay, that's 12 gram CO2, and then you will put this in. Now I've reached the maximum point there. Now if I was to use this to go any further, just a little bit, and then it just stops, so you don't have to over tighten it. And then what you'd do, you would need to move this button across here, it's got a spring in there somewhere, put it over, move it up to the left, and then you take the magazine out, pretend it's empty. Okay, now you'll notice on one side is smooth and one side it's a little bit jagged, if you like. Now this jagged end has to go in so it's facing the trigger. Okay, the smooth end barrel facing. Okay, so what you do also, what I do, oh, I've nearly lost one. Normally they'd get fired out of this, so well, rather than put them in that way, just basically the idea is so they sit in a lot easier. I think there's a slight lip in there, so basically what you need to do is put them in this end and you push them just gently so they just sit at the back, and again just sit at the back. You don't want them forward because you want them like this, you want them sat towards the back. They won't go any further unless you really push hard, so you're getting the maximum effect when you actually pull the trigger, a bit like when you're loading a real rounds into a real gun. as such. You need them flush against in the breech, etc., so they get a clean shot off. And basically you would then place this in there. Sometimes it might be a bit fiddly, but you just got to move it around a little bit. It moves around, and then pop this. Sometimes this might not go fully flush, so just move that a little bit and then it will. Now I'm not going to do this because I don't want to fire it and have the CO2 12 gram gas sat in there, because I will leave the bottle. I always leave the bottle in there, and it's always got some rubber steel balls in there. But basically what you would do is then hit the bottom of this, and here is a little button, and that'll pop up to let you know that the CO2 has, shall we say, extinguished itself inside pistol grip here, or the revolver grip, and it pops it out, and then you know it's ready to go. Also, you'll notice when you get to the end of using the CO2, when it's coming to its end, you've used it all up, and it'll just be like a pff, rather than a proper full shot. You'll know it. You know you've used it up, and then what you do to get rid of the rest of the CO2 is press this button that's popped up when you hit the base of the pistol to let the CO2 out, and then you'll hear the CO2 remainder, what's left in, coming out, just a loud hissing. Now there's no safety on this as such, which personally I think you could do with a safety on it, because you know, of some sort. Now I think it's the HDX, which I'll do a review soon, that's got a safety, little normal safety on it, which is great. This has got no other safety on it, so once you've loaded it, so to speak, and the CO2 is ready to go in there, then you could fire it off accidentally. And you'd have to be careful, because you know what we're like. You know, we're messing about with the target and we're wandering around, stick a hold of the gun, you got it facing down, the next thing you pop one off and it's hit your foot or bounced off a wall and hit you in the eye or something like that. So for me, there could be a little safety on there somewhere once it's all loaded up. I mean, it is a revolver, so you know it's you know, you're not gonna you got not any sights you can take off or whatever. You got the basic sights on there. It's solid. It'll take a lot of hammering, and there's rails there for attachment, sights, laser sight, and it's a really solid bit of kit, really. And it is lots of fun. I've been firing it quite a bit, and I'm really happy of my purchase, and hopefully I shall get lots more out of it. And these that came on offer, you do need extra ones of these ideally, otherwise you'll be, you know, constantly loading this one up. And if you purchase one, like you probably find out with lots of these guns, the big thing about it is, the fun thing is when you have to come to find these, because they bounce around a lot. So the idea is to set yourself up a target system whereby they are good at catching the rounds, and you don't have to look far and wide to retrieve them, because they are reusable and they are fairly solid. And yeah, so I think that's it really. I don't think I've missed anything. The trigger's got a one there where you can just get the gauge it just before you pull it. The trigger really good, no problems with that, responds well, and I would say I probably get what 6 in each of those, 12, 24, I would say probably about 45 decentish, obviously depending on the distance you're firing, 15 to 20 foot, probably about 15 to 18 foot, probably about 45 decent shots, and then you start noticing that, you know, it'll still hurt if it hits you, know, because I've noticed when they bounce off things, because they no longer penetrate things, it still gives you a bit of a, you know, thud when it hits you, but right about 45 to 50 shots, 15, 18 foot distance from the target. Yeah, so great stuff, but I've not fired any paintballs from it yet as such, so when I buy those, they seem to be quite difficult to get those. Don't know why, maybe everyone's buying them. But there you go, HDR 50.